Am I the asshole for snapping at my daughter for wearing makeup when my wife has been letting her do it behind my back?
No.
I'm a little torn. I need more context.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I, 45 male, normally don't pick up my 14-year-old daughter from her after-school program. My wife usually handles that. But today, due to a last-minute work thing, I had to do it. When I got there, I noticed my daughter and her friends, and she was wearing noticeable makeup, mascara, eyeshadow, the works. I was shocked. I always said I didn't want her wearing makeup at that age. I pulled her aside and snapped at her, telling her she was too young and that she needed to take it off right now. She started crying and said that she was just experimenting with some stuff with her friends. When we got home, I asked my wife why she's been letting this happen. That's when I found out she's been letting our daughter wear makeup for weeks behind my back because it's quote unquote harmless. And she's just growing up, she says. I ended up blowing up at my wife because of that. We had a huge argument where I was frustrated that my wife undermined me and that our daughter was caught in the middle of it. I know I snapped at her, and part of me feels maybe I overreacted, but I also feel blindsided and betrayed. I can't figure out if I'm being unreasonable for expecting my wife to back me up on my parenting decisions, or if I was actually too harsh on my daughter. So, am I the asshole for snapping at my daughter over the makeup, or is it just my frustration with my wife that is bothering me?
I think both of those things are true.
Okay, talk about it.
I think he's I don't want to call him a terrible father, but I think he was in the wrong for snapping at his daughter, first and foremost.
14-year-old daughter?
Yeah, that's not something you should do publicly, especially publicly.
Yeah.
You know, that's not something that you want out there, and that's your daughter. Like that's not something that you should do, first and foremost. Secondly, I believe the fault in this lies with the wife. Like, if I'm making a decision impacting my kids, I want my wife to be on board with me, okay? Mm-hmm. And if her and I agreed that this is something that we're going to do collectively as a team, because everything, when you're in a marriage, everything is a team. If my wife behind my back breaks that partnership and lets my daughter do what she wants, there's mutiny here going on. You feel me? Like, I don't like that dynamic. I don't think any of the anger or the frustration should be pointed towards the daughter, in my opinion. I think it should be pointed towards the mother because she did something behind my back, which I don't appreciate, which is a conversation that her and I would have, not yelling or anything. I don't know how he even yelled in the first place, but a partnership is with two people supporting. You feel me?
Yeah.
And the second that she stepped out of that to make her own decisions about our child, I think that is weird. You feel me? And that's a conversation that her and I will have.
100%.
What do you guys think?
I don't blame him. I do blame him a little bit. Again, the public thing I would have a problem with. Don't yell at your child in public. Address some things, especially family matters, in private. But if he thinks, and this is me suspecting, because this is something that generations past, kids would hide things from their parents and do things at school, but then change clothes when they get home, or wear makeup at school, but then take it off before they get home. And him thinking that, hey, this is maybe something that she's hiding from us, may have been him blowing up in public. That's my suspicion. But I wouldn't yell at the child in public, and I wouldn't yell at the child. If the child is doing something that was approved by the mother without you, then that's something that needs to be addressed. And his concern of there are perverts out here that look, if you wear certain things, makeup at a young age, they'll look at her, oh, that girl, and try to talk to her, and that is concerns that people have. And that is concerns fathers have, that is concerns elder brothers have, or cousins, or whatever it is, family members have. Is some older guy trying to come to their family member and talk to them at a young age because they think, oh, that girl's wearing makeup, oh, she may be older than she looks, or something like that. No, we're not appreciating of that. But yeah, I would have a problem with the wife making that decision without me.
Yeah, no cap. Honestly, I 100% agree with what you guys both said. The only thing I don't agree with too is, and like you guys said too, like the snapping at the daughter is so unnecessary, especially a 14-year-old kid too with her friends around. Like, I don't know if you guys had this as a kid growing up, but like when I used to when I used to get in trouble and we were outside, my parents had this thing where they would still be mad at me without saying a word. Like their eyes would do enough.
Yeah.
I'd be terrified just from a look from my dad or my mom.
Facts,
Like
yeah.
I feel like this dad doesn't have that type of sauce. Like, you know what I mean? Like you got to be able to give your daughter the stern look. Like, I know you did something wrong today, but we're in public, so I'm gonna keep it G. But
Yeah.
you know that I'm pissed, and then go home and have a conversation with the wife, and then fix it from there. But I think, yeah, to be honest, snapping at the wife in front of her, snapping at the daughter in front of her friends makes you just look like a reckless pops.
Like he
You know what
has
I mean?
no, he has no control.
Yeah,
over his
no
emotions.
self-control,
Like, what
and not
the
to
hell?
mention too, it's a 14-year-old person. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, this is not
child.
somebody who's like making decisions for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
There's somebody being influenced from the decisions they're making. Obviously, your friends are doing it too. You're seeing this as a group. Be upset at the person who's initiating this, which is the wife.
Do you
behind your
guys
back.
agree at there's any fault with the daughter?
Yeah, she should know better.
No, if you're being approved by your mother, you
That's
think
true.
it's
That's
okay.
true. If being influenced by the mom, it wasn't involved, then I would think, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was trying
Yeah.
to get across. Like what the point I was trying to get across is there in this situation there's no fault on the daughter. That's what I'm trying to say. So I think him doing that huge scene in front of the school just makes him look like a
It's like
reckless
one
father.
parent said I could, and the other
Yeah,
parent
like
is
that's-
snapping at me. It's like, what do I listen
Yeah.
to? You know what I mean?
I know I'm saying this kind of in a way, but the failure of your partnership right now is the reason why this child is doing what she's doing.
And that's most
there's
likely,
no reason why she should get any fault for that.
in a nutshell, that's typically why all kids crash out. It's because the
Absolutely.
mom and dad aren't on the same page. You know,
Yeah.
so this is just a scenario in which that's happening, but it's not necessarily in the eyes of the kid crashing out. It's just experimenting with life, being a child. You know, so I don't give any fault to the child or
Absolutely,
the
yeah.
daughter, 14 years old, but I think like there should be some nuance in this story where the kid knows that this upset my dad, and I can't be going on with this like this anymore.
Okay.
You know, whether or not her mom said it's okay or not, she's got to know there's some friction here now. You know, 14 years old, you got to have some common sense.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Right.
in a way, but at the same time, if I'm getting the okay from my mom, it is what it is.
Yeah, pop still matters.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys a question. Let's say you guys were in a marriage and you had a daughter, okay? And you gave your daughter, you cannot do this. You cannot, let's say in this situation is your daughter cannot wear this, okay? And it's point blank clear. Everybody knows. And then let's say one day you came home early and you saw your daughter was wearing that, okay? And when you talk to your daughter about it, you realize it's because her mother approved it. What are you guys doing in the situation?
Having a conversation with my wife, simple as that.
Is there any fault on the daughter?
No, she got approved.
No, but at the same time, she knows your feelings about it.
Yeah, but still,
This is a separate situation.
you know, when you're like, I'll attribute this to a more lighthearted story or a reference, but when the kids are trying to go to a sleepover and they ask their mom says no, and they quickly ask their dad right after the
Yeah.
dad says yes, and they treat that like it's the law, is the exact same thing this kid is doing here, in my opinion.
I'd still feel a way about
If I
that.
want something and there's two authority figures and only one has the ability to give me the permission to do it, I'm going to take that one and rock with it. That's just the natural child mind, fam.
That is the natural child mind, but at the same time, they got to know that's not okay.
It's not okay.
If
but
a
it's-
manager in the office says later on, I'm not saying this is what's going to build up to, but they're making it feel like, oh, it's okay for one authority figure to say no and one authority figure to say yes.
I don't think it
doesn't
compounds into that.
outlaw.
I don't think it compounds into that. I think this is just a child mind of just trying to take advantage.
But
literally.
generally, the idea doesn't outlaw. One doesn't outlaw the other.
not in reality, but in the child's mind, a 14-year-old child's mind,
Yeah,
they will
that's-
think that.
That's the time you tell them, hey, no means no. One person is yes does not mean another person didn't say no.
But that's a discussion you should have with your partner.
That's a discussion first with the partner, then with the child of, hey, you can't pit us against each other.
I think by default that would result in what you want. If you talk to your wife and you guys are clear and you guys are on the same page,
There should be
by
no sides. Yeah.
default, moving forward, you will get the same answer from both of us. I think
Regardless.
that issue is fixed by our discussion.
It could be, but still the child should get that conversation of, hey, if one person says no, you don't need to ask the other person.
But then why do something if it's naturally going to unfold the way that you want it to? Why have that discussion? Because
Why
what it
not
sounds
have it?
like to me is you're putting fault on her, which I don't think is right.
I'm putting that piece of the fault of you're trying to go around what I just said.
Yeah.
Is the fault that she has. The fault of, hey, let's communicate and let's make sure we're on the same page. And hey, we should check with each other before we make a decision is, of course, between the man and the wife. But hey, I just told you something. I'm your father. You don't need to go outrank me by going to your mother. Is something that we can discuss as well. Because if your mother just said no, I want to I don't want to say something against her if she just made a ruling.
Is that a discussion you should have with a child, though?
Yes.
I don't think so.
How am I gonna, like, if I'm 14 years old, how am I gonna like understand that in my mind?
You just said 14's not that young to they don't understand concepts and words. They understand
What?
the
I didn't say
sentences.
that.
No, but you said that 14's enough where they should know my father was upset about something.
Yeah, read the room.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So 14's old enough to say, hey, if I say no, you don't need to ask your mother afterwards. I just said no to you.
yeah, but they're gonna not typically a teenager is gonna go against the grain.
They can, but I could still have that conversation. Regardless if it amounts to anything or it doesn't, I still had the conversation with you so I can, going forward, I can come bring that conversation back of, hey, I said this before.
Do you think your kids are gonna listen to everything you say?
No, but
So
it
then-
doesn't hurt to get it out. If I want to say that, if this is something I feel like it's not a good trait, I'm going to keep on saying it. This is not a one-off conversation.
So
You
how
have
would
to
how would
repeat
you
things
resolve
to your
that? How
child.
would you resolve that issue if your wife said something to your child and they went off and did it that you're against? How would you resolve that issue? Yell at both?
Again, you don't. I'm not a yeller. We know I'm not.
Have a
yeller.
conversation with both.
Yeah.
And what does that conversation with your daughter look like?
Hey, first the wife. Hey, we need to be on the same page. Let's check with each other. Cool. Daughter. Hey, let's not. What? Sorry. Which part again?
If your wife says yes to something and you say no to something and your child ends up siding with your wife, what
we're letting
conversation?
that first one slide, and we're going forward. We're on the same page.
Okay, but what are you saying to your child? If I say no, it's law.
No.
What is the conversation then?
Hey, you don't need to ask both. If I say no, we checked with each other already.
So your rule is law.
Our rule is law. Going forward,
There's two of you.
I'm saying I'm approaching my wife with we're united front.
Let's say you're not in the picture though. Let's say that you're not
Why
there
am I not in the picture?
because you're not always going to be there. Let's say there's a situation where your wife is the immediate authoritative figure. Does your child need your permission as well?
No.
Even if you guys are against the concepts?
If my wife is there and she makes the ruling, she made the ruling. You're not coming to me afterwards if she said no and say, hey.
So whoever's around
I?
is law.
Yeah.
Then you're going to, at some point, you're going to have something that goes
We
against
can
what you're
have the
saying.
discussion afterwards of me and my wife. Hey, I don't like that. I'm not coming back to the child because the child didn't ask me. Child asked my wife, so I'm talking to my wife about it. But if my child comes to me first, I say no. Then she goes to her mother to say yes, and then we can have the discussion of, hey, let's check with
So
each
you're
other.
just against of the child pitting you against each other.
Yes,
Okay, but
Yeah.
you're not realizing that can happen with or without you stepping in.
it can happen. But
You
I'm
just
not.
don't care.
If I'm not there, I'm not making a ruling on what the decision is.
Fair.
She asked her mother. That's the person who made the ruling.
Gotcha.
If later on I don't like that, or if whatever happened, I can have that discussion with my wife. But the immediate thing was she asked me first,
Mm-hmm.
and I said no.
Right.
And then she asked my wife. She said yes.
Yeah.
I can have a discussion with, hey, let's check with each other, because she asked me already. And I said no to it.
Okay.
Then I could talk to my daughter, but hey, you don't need to be asking both. I said no already. If you want to have an open forum about it, we can have an open forum of this is why I said no.
See, that concept, I don't think you are understanding a child won't get. Like, they're just going to do whatever it takes to get what they want. They're not going to
Regardless.
understand what you're saying right now to me, how you shouldn't be asking somebody after you got to know. You
A
can't say that
child's
to a
mind's clay.
14-year-old child.
A child's mind's clay.
Yeah.
If you keep on tapping at it, if you keep on molding it the right way, you're going to form, at least she's going to have her own identity, but an impression of the parents of, hey, they don't like this, and hey, they do like this.
If you were my
you
pops,
can
I'd be
resolve
running
that.
circles around you, man. I'm not gonna lie. If you were my pops, I'd be running
You don't need
circles
to.
around. I'd be like, yo, hold up. Yeah, I said I could, okay? Yeah.
That's cool.
You deal with that later. I'm
That's
out.
cool.
I'm running circles around you, fam.
That's cool.
Like the child, okay, it's very easy to manipulate you in this scenario because you're saying that if my rule is not law, then we're gonna have a discussion about it. That's basically what you're saying.
What do you mean?
You're saying if I say no and you go to my wife and she says yes, then I'm gonna not only have a conversation with my wife, I'm gonna have a conversation with the child, and the child's got to understand that there can't be two opposing sides to this. One is the law. That's what you're gonna say,
If
and
there's
you
a
expect
no
the child to
in it-
understand that.
The child doesn't need to understand after one conversation.
Okay.
You can continue having conversation with the child. You are there.
Okay.
You're not an absentee father.
Cool.
Done.
Okay. Having said that, do you think the father is in the wrong in this situation?
For blowing up in public, yeah.
Yeah.
For feeling how he's feeling now.
No, but ultimately, you can't say the situation.
He's the asshole for how he treated it, for how he reacted. Yes.
Okay.
In public,
So he's the asshole in the situation.
he's the asshole in the situation.
Okay.
I don't think he's the asshole.
Ultimate.
I think the wife is the asshole solely. Solely, I think it's the wife, because like, how are you gonna say yes to something your husband already is against?
We're in the age of everyone being videotaped. That's my concern.
What?
If he's doing this in public,
What's the correlation?
can I?
Go ahead.
If he's doing this in public, yelling in public, and these kids are videotaping and sending it to whoever they may be, there may be bigger issues there for the family.
I know we're ending this episode, but to
Wrap
me
this up,
now,
man. Wrap this
to
up,
me
man.
now, it
Wrap this
sounds
up.
like for you, it's public appearance now.
No.
You don't really care about how you treated your daughter in the
So you
moment.
love bringing new elements into
Yeah, he just brought a new element.
element.
And I'll end it up with mine. Don't worry, I'll click a no.
Go ahead.
But it sounds like with that new element you introduced, you care more about
The
how it
optics.
looked than how your daughter felt.
We can have a conversation. We live together. We can have a conversation about how she felt
No,
afterwards.
true. What?
Because
What did you say?
emotions blow up at different moments. We can't.
I don't blow up.
Crucify-
I don't blow up my parents. I have never yelled at
I've
anybody.
never yelled at my parents.
No,
either.
but I've never said you did. What I'm trying to say is I know not to blow up at certain moments, especially in front of 14-year-old kids, in front of a school, with other parents around.
Things happen.
Fair. Okay.
He didn't smack the child. He didn't harm the child. He yelled, and he's wrong for that. But I'm saying you don't want to give off to your child or to the other children an impression of there's harm or you're a scary person or anything like that, especially in front of a school. So the videotaping and sending it off to things, that's a big concern as well.
Okay.
That's
fair
another
enough.
point to this that I forgot to bring up earlier.
Fair enough. And I will end this off by saying the wife is the asshole.
That's cool.
Nobody else. And let's end it off that.
Comments? You know what to do. Calvary Podcast. We'll see you next time.